What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex, and I'm at the Grove location. Now, I'm going to do a video that's going to last about 5 to 10 minutes because I'm supposed to do a interview, and that interview can take up anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, and it makes no sense to do a YouTube video that's half that amount of time because if I do the video, they can call while I'm doing the video and mess up the quality of the picture and the sound. And then you guys get mad because somebody's calling or text messaging while I'm filmmaking. You know, when you're looking for a job, sometimes they're going to do what they call a virtual interview. They usually last about 5 to 10 minutes. They usually ask a bunch of questions that pertain to the job description. And it's 50-50 if you get the job or don't get the job. But that's not why you're watching this YouTube video. Now, this one is, however, going to be in the category of self-improvement. So I'm going to put... I don't know if I want to put a long title, but I'm going to probably put Sex Game / Alex Rockstar self-improvement, or should I say, the more successful you get, the less or more people come around you. Now, a lot of times in life, when a man or a woman becomes successful, that could be anything. That could be sports, that could be television and film, that can be in photo photography, that could be in business, that could be at work. A lot of times you're going to get people from your past that are just going to conveniently just show up from out of the blue. And it doesn't matter if it's 5 years, it could be 10, 15, 20 years later that you haven't seen these people when you was in high school and college. And a lot of times you be in your 30s, your 40s, and all of a sudden they just pop up like they never left. Those we call suspect. Now you might say, what's a suspect? A suspect is someone who never wanted to be your friend in high school and college, and the only reason why they show up out of the blue is because they found out you became successful. When you become successful, you become a potential target. Like, you see how people become rich and famous, right? A lot of your celebrities, a lot of the actors that have done television and film are targets because they haven't seen their friends in high school and college for the past 15 to 20 years, and they don't know what are your intentions. They don't know what you're here for. They don't know if you want to talk about the fun times that you were in high school and college, or when you first became rich and famous. Because everybody, but believe it or not, everybody comes after you for something. And this is going to lead into another YouTube video that's going to have Alex Rockstar or Sex Game, but we'll get to it. See, as a man, you got to be very careful when you become successful. And this doesn't matter if you're a black man, white man, Latino man, Asian man. It doesn't matter if you're a black woman, a white woman, a Latino woman, or an Asian woman. This video's for both, young and old, black or white. You got to be careful because when people show up 10, 15, 20 years later, you don't know what their number one intentions are. And they start to act real strange and real weird and funny around you when you become successful. A lot of times you get a house or an apartment, all of a sudden 5 or 10 years later, that person pops out of the blue and they somehow, some way, they got access to your personal information where they know you got a house. And you ain't told nobody that you got a house or an apartment, but they know you got a house or an apartment. You ain't told nobody that you got a car, and they find out you got a car, truck, or a motorcycle, or if they found out where you live. You ain't told nobody where you work or where you live, but somehow a person that you used to go to high school or college with 10, 15, 20 years later somehow get access to that information, and then when you first confront them, they play stupid with you. They play dumb with you because they think you're not supposed to find out what they're doing. And there have been stories of men who have never hung out with someone in high school and college ever, and this person gets their information and they know where they live, they know where they work, and it be 5, 10 years later, 15 years later. Some cases it can be 20 years later that you haven't seen these people from high school and college. Sometimes you can lose your job and get a new job, and it could be 5 or 10 years later, and that person just magically show up at your doorstep and want to pick up where you left off. We call that a red flag. Now, when you get successful, you can get successful in anything. It could be sports, business, television and film. You could break into the music industry and be an R&B singer, a rapper. You could be a doctor. You could be a lawyer. You could be a police officer, a firefighter. You could be someone who fixes cell phones, computers. You could be a car salesman. You could be successful in anything. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And you will not know when someone shows up what their reason is. They might seen you do something and decided to pick the right opportunity to pop up and say hi. And then you're trying to figure out, why are you trying to talk to me if we never had no interest in high school and college? Like, for most men, I've noticed on YouTube, a lot of the guys who call themselves Black Pill, Black Sail, Midtown, Red Pill, I noticed 90% of their YouTube content, they're usually upset because they got rejected by some woman in high school and college. So they'll make 90% of their content about women, which in one regard, okay, it's like, look, we've all been rejected, okay? I've had some women in high school reject me. I had like at least, I'm going to say by my count, I had at least 5 to 10 women in high school reject me, okay? I had some women in college reject me. I even had some women at my first job, my second job, my third job, just about every job I've had. There were some women that found me physically, sexually attractive, but I didn't know it. And then there were some women I found physically, sexually attractive, and they never liked me. They never reciprocated back to me. Sometimes it was my fault, and sometimes it wasn't my fault. I'm not saying you need to blame women. What I'm trying to say to you is, we've all been rejected by women, okay? But when you make 90% of your content about women, a lot of people are going to question what are your intentions for being on the internet. You got people who get YouTube videos terminated and taken down all the time because they say some stuff that's rude, disrespectful from out of nowhere in a YouTube video, and then they get a copyright strike. Oh, I'm suing you, I'm taking you to court. Like, you look at this one YouTuber whose name I'm not going to say because he's been blacklisted, because he can't go on Twitter anymore, and he's got to go to court, and he's got to prove that what happened to him 2 years ago was, an accident, or it never happened in the first place. That's why I'm making the YouTube video, because if they can get him, they can get anybody. And basically, I'm trying to explain that when you become successful, you have to actually watch out for the people that you don't see 10, 15, 20 years from now. Because they could just pop up and say, hi, such and such, and you'll be like, why are you here? Like, what is your whole point for popping up why I'm here? Some men don't like it when they get told by their parents or their grandparents, you need to move on, and you need to let the past be the past, let the present be the present, and let the future be the future. Most men don't like that, because it could be 10, 15, 20 years later, and all of the people that were popular, all the people that were playing basketball or football, all the popular kids, you run into them 10, 15, 20 years later. Everybody's grown up, everybody has a family, or either they have a family or they're now finally dating, one or the other. And you may not like someone trying to hang out with you once they find out you're successful in business, or you're successful in sports, television and film, business marketing. Or you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a police officer, you could be a firefighter. You can find success in anything at any given time. There's no timetable on when it takes to become successful. But when you do become successful, you shouldn't be surprised or shocked when somebody from your past pops up because they found out you got a house, you got an apartment, you got a car, you're making a lot of money. And a lot of times you don't know what their intentions are. Sometimes they've got some good intentions, but most of the time they have negative, bad intentions. And they're usually because they see you're successful, so they think maybe he can help me get my business started. That's usually the number one scheme that most of the people from your past have. Like, I'm trying to get my business started, maybe you can help me. And then you just try to show them the ropes, but the whole entire time they're not trying to get you to help them become successful. What they want is for you to give them some money, and they want your money, and then you become very critical on why this person show up out of the blue. So you have to watch out for those people. This is if you're a man. It's a two-way street. Same thing for you women. A lot of you black women, white women, and Latino women, you got to be careful. You got to watch out. There are a bunch of men from your past that never wanted to be with you, and then when they found out that you became successful, like for women, when women get their own business, that's when all the guys pop up and try to see if they can, get the same success. And if it's a man, usually a man usually gets another guy that's jealous of him, and then they spread rumors, they spread lies, and you can tell. Now, let me give you the difference between people who hang around more and people who hang less. Let me start with the obvious. People who hang around less, usually you get less phone calls and less text messages. You used to get 3 phone calls or 6 phone calls in 1 month to now all of a sudden, instead of 6 phone calls, you get 3 phone calls. Then you get 2 phone calls. Then you get 1 phone call. Next thing you know, it'd be 2-3 months later before you get any phone calls or text messages from that man or woman. This is when you can tell they hang around less. The more you self-improve, the better you get in anything. You self-improve in fitness. You self-improve in playing sports, business. You self-improve in getting a house or a car, or you get a better job and you make more money. The less people you see. The more money you make, the more people you see less. And these be people that you went to high school and college with, and you see them less and less and less. It'd be 5, 10, maybe 15 years later, sometimes 20 years later, that a person that you went to high school and college with just resurface. And you'll be confused because you won't know why they show back up. But you do know they want something, and what they want is whatever it is that you have. Money, fame, an opportunity to be successful themselves, and then they just use you just because of what you have. And then that's when you find out who are your real friends from your fake friends. So I'm telling you, when you see them less, is because, number one, you caught on to the scheme. You found out that they're not interested in you like that. And you be saying to yourself, what kind of person I'm hanging out with? What kind of person I'm talking to? The person that I know back in high school and college has changed. All of a sudden, I try to invite them to the nightclubs and bars or to the party. I got a job promotion. I want to celebrate my birthday. And they go, no, thank you. I'm cool. I ain't showing up to your birthday party. Or I'm not going to your job promotion. But you go on Facebook or you go on Twitter or Instagram, and 3 months later or 6 months later or even 5 years later, you find out that they've taken anywhere from 50 to 100 photos of them basically going to someone else's birthday party, going to someone else's job promotion, but not trying to come to your job promotion because they're jealous of you, because they don't like you. Or you find out they go to Steve's birthday party, but they don't come to my birthday party. Steve has a job promotion, but they don't come to my job promotion. That's when you know you made a lot of money. You see people less. You get less phone calls, less text messages. You don't get no phone calls. You don't get no text messages. I'm talking about when men play or hate on other men. Now, some people might say, what about the women? Well, it's different for women. When a guy gets rejected by a woman, that's a different ball game. In fact, that's like a separated, completely different YouTube video, because that would take too long to explain, and not every single woman, and I mean this, not every single woman that you went to high school and college is going to straight come after you just because you became successful. A lot of those women, they get families. They go to different cities, different states, and it'd be almost 15, 20 years later before you see the girl that you went to high school and had a crush on in high school or in college. So it could take 15 to 20 years. So usually it'd be a man jealous of another man. You know, you be on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram trying to figure out why this person's lying and making rumors about you, and it'd be a man player hating on another man. That's why I said you can be successful in anything. If you're a woman, it'd be women jealous of other women. It don't matter if you're a black woman, a white woman, a Latino woman, or an Asian woman. It don't matter if you're young or old. You can get women jealous of other women. I've seen women player hate on other women. I've seen women go as far as to talk trash about a woman at work. You know, go to work and talk about how the girl's birthday party sucked, or how she don't need no job promotion. I don't know what they saw in her at work. I don't know why that guy's talking to her. You know, women talk trash about other women and men talk trash about other men. This is one of those motivational videos. So that's why I said I don't want this video to be too long and too short. I'm just trying to make sure you people understand where I'm coming from when they come less. Now let's get to the last part before I end the video. You will have some people that will come more. The more successful you become, the more people show up. You get a house, 5 people show up because you got a house. You get a car, 10 people show up. 10 plus 5 is 15, right? So if you get a house, 5 people are going to show up because you got a house. You get a car, 5 people show up. Every time you advance to the next level and the next level and the next level, someone else shows up. I got a house, 5 people show up from out of the blue. I get a car, 5 people show up out of the blue. All of a sudden I got 10 people. But then I trade in this house or this car for a better car or a better house, and another 5 people come. So 5 plus 5 is 10, 10 plus 5 is 15. So you got 15 people that you went to high school and college with that you haven't seen in 10, 15, 20 years. And all of a sudden, every time you get to the next level and the next level of success, you see them pop up. And then you're trying to figure out in your head, why every time I succeed more people pop up from my past. It's going to be a combination of friends and family. You're going to get family members that's going to do the same thing. There are going to be some family members that you ain't seen in 10, 15, 20 years. And every time you post pictures on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, believe it or not, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, they are going to see those photos. And they may not comment on those photos, but they will see those photos. So when it gets to be 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, they will say stuff like, well, I seen your photos. And you'd be like, well, if you see my photos, how come you never comment? How come you never call or email? Oh, I don't know, I'll be busy. But you be on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and what are they doing? They're talking to other family members, but won't talk to you. They be friends talking to your other friends, but won't talk to you. So you got a combination of friends who do it, family members who do it, and this video's for both, for men and for women, young or old, black or white. This video's for y'all. This is a motivational video. Because some of y'all men will graduate from high school or from college. Some of you women will graduate from high school and college, and you'll come into the real world, and you're not going to have no one to give you this information. And because I got 14 years of experience, I'm telling you the good and the bad. I'm telling you what's the difference between the more successful you become, more people show up. The more successful you become, less people show up. So one of them can happen to you, or both of them can happen to you. The first one that happens to you is the one that's obvious. The more I become successful, the less people I see. And then 5, 10, 15 years later, or 20 years later, they show up. The only time you get the more I become successful, the more they show up, is if you're too close to becoming rich and famous. Let's say I jump from doing YouTube videos to television broadcasting, or I do movies, I do television shows, or I become a director, or I become a film producer. That's when you're going to see more and more and more people show up from your past. And it's usually 50-50. You'll get some family members, and you'll get some friends that you ain't seen from your past conveniently show up. And you don't know what their intentions are, good or bad. So I don't want to make this video longer than what it already is. I got an interview. I got to do it because they can call at any time. Until next time, peace.